All right, 6:30 now and a news alert for you. Westminster Police getting ready to give us a live update on the search for little Jessica Ridgway, 10 years old. This is the flyer they have been circulating, giving their description. Again, 4'8", 80 pounds, blonde hair, blue eyes. They've been circulating this a lot lately. They put this new flyer out because they want folks to focus on her facial features. They're fearful that she has changed clothes, maybe not have her glasses on. Let's listen in now. This is Trevor, the Public Information Officer for Westminster Police.
We wanted to give you an update as to this morning's plan. Today we're really going to focus on two things, both finishing and working in the canvas that's going on right in that immediate area where Jessica disappeared from. The investigation team has identified that is a key focus on this, so obviously we've been spending a great amount of time. They're hoping that some of those things they want to finish up on today will occur, so a main focus will be that canvas in and around Jessica's home. There's also some areas that we didn't finish searching yesterday. Obviously, you saw several crews out working. We're using air support. Dogs were brought in. You're going to see that ongoing today. We hope to finish that. There's been some phone calls coming in making association to some of the teams that you see out there. Last night we received several calls about DEA, ICE, or personnel that are wearing their equipment, their uniform that identifies what agency they're coming from. We don't want you to focus on what that agency is. For example, DEA. Those are just resources that are deployed that are helping us. They're focusing on activities out of the command post, so they're being sent out. ICE has some training in search and recovery or search and rescue. That's been beneficial, so we've used them out in the field. So you're going to see some different uniforms that we want you to recognize, that it not necessarily focused on their profession or what agency they're from, but it's helping this investigation. We're going to release, and we're working to get them up on Facebook right now, 2 additional pictures and some video of Jessica that the family has given to us. And we really want people to look. We were talking yesterday that the clothing likely has changed. We want people to focus on Jessica's facial features. What does Jessica really look like? 2 things of note that you will see, particularly in the video. She has a gap between her 2 front teeth. When you see that video, it's fairly obvious and a distinguishing characteristic. As well, she's got a sore at the top of her nose, the bridge of her nose, just below where her glasses sit. That sore just doesn't heal. So it's a good indicator if you see somebody you think is Jessica. Those 2 things are good to pay particular attention to. The last thing that I just want to reiterate, I've talked about several times, is just how important the community is in this. Obviously, getting the flyers out, getting that information, them passing and sharing that just helps get the word, find Jessica out there. And there's the chance that somebody may see her in passing at some time. So it's really important that you take a moment to look at that picture, look at that video, listen to her, watch her physical characteristics, how she kind of moves and how she talks. Take those, really make a mental image of those, and if you happen to be the person out in the community that may see Jessica in passing, please call 911 or use that tip line again, 303-658-4336. The PD Amber Alert at City of Westminster is still active as well. Is there any questions I can answer for you?
You talked about 300 tips yesterday. How many tips do you think you've gotten?
I haven't got an update from the command post since then, so I will get that in this morning's briefing at 8 o'clock.
Trevor, Josh, those first 2 points again of what you're focusing on today.
The 2 main focuses will be the canvas, which is occurring in and around Jessica's home. So that neighborhood around 107th and Moore Street. And then there's some open fields that we didn't finish searching yesterday, so we'll focus on those as well.
Trevor, Josh Bernstein from KDVR Fox 31 Denver. Is the family cooperating at this point?
Yes, the family's been cooperating the entire time.
Has anybody been asked to take a polygraph, and if so, who?
That's not part of this investigation at the time.
You haven't asked anybody to take a polygraph?
Surrounded a pond in Superior area. We know your officers were out there.
I say again about a pond.
Yeah, there was Boulder and Westminster police were searching a pond overnight in the Superior area. Just curious if you could talk about connection to the case.
There were 2 different ones, so depending on time. One, we did bring out the dive team just like we did prior on Saturday. where we had used the dive team in Kettner Lake. Again, that was just to rule out. We weren't focused or searching for any particular item, but those water activities are really to search the bodies of water, just like we have people walking through fields searching for any clues. So those are ruling out when you see that type of activity. At this time, we don't have any indications that we're going to find anything in water. Additionally, there have been some items that were found overnight. To us at this time, we're unable to determine if any of the items that have been located by search teams or anyone else that has reported finding items to us is directly tied to Jessica. At this point in the investigation, the only item we're attributing that we can say is related to Jessica is the backpack.
What was found overnight, Trevor? Can you give us an idea of some of the things that you collected?
They're just items that are unsure. They could possibly be associated, but they're not clearly defined as something that's directly involved in the case or related to Jessica. So clearly we have to collect those in the same manner until we can determine whether they do or do not involve direct correlations to this case.
That was in and around Kettner Lake? I'm sorry?
I don't know specifically which areas overnight.
Have you been able to determine when that backpack was left?
We have not. So again, in regards to the backpack, we would still look to that Rock Creek community, ask parents to talk to their children. If there's any additional information, if somebody has come home from vacation or we haven't been able to talk to them, if they will reach out to us, we would appreciate that. They can do that through that tip line.
A moment ago you said a polygraph is not part of the investigation at this point. It's day 5 and a 10-year-old girl is missing. Has nobody been asked to take a polygraph?
We're not going to discuss the details, the specific details of how we're talking to people, what we're doing, techniques that we're using.
John Walsh has been very critical of the lack of information coming out. How do you respond to that?
Karen, I didn't hear your question. I'm sorry.
Right around her house, you've been in and out of several homes more than once. Can you tell us about the thought process behind those searches?
We don't want to miss anything. So we're going to go back several times. We're going to cover our tracks. We're going to look in the same area that we've already looked. That's a key area, obviously, because that is the area where she disappeared from. So you're going to see a lot of activity. There's been activity since Friday in and around her home, and that's going to continue today. There's nothing specific that is keeping us in that area other than we want to make sure there's no stone unturned, and we're focusing because, again, that is where Jessica disappeared from.
Is there any way to tell folks if your investigators believe it's more or less likely that she's still alive? Where are you with the fact that either she's missing and gone or not alive or still alive?
Well, the focus that we're looking at is, I think, more related to, as we learn more about Jessica, it may focus more on an abduction versus her missing because she ran away. And that's the details that I can get into at this time. I appreciate it. Again, we have a briefing in the command post at 8 o'clock. I hope to get some new information. I'll get that out to you. We're going to use Twitter again. We'll push all that information out. So if there's additional information that I can bring to you, we'll get that to you on Twitter. Thank you.
All right, that's Trevor Matarazzo, the Westminster Police Public Information Officer, getting a lot of questions there, including from our own Tyler Lopez, asking questions about little Jessica. No big revealing information comes this morning, but we did promise you we'd bring you the very latest. The key takeaways here is the police want you to focus on what she looks like as you help and search for her, and this new flyer they have out. The other thing is that tip line, we've given it to you before, 303-658-4336, 658-4336. You heard Tyler ask how many tips they've had since Sunday, in the hundreds, and all of them may turn out to be valuable. So if you've got any information, you're asked to please call Westminster Police. Even the slightest detail may help them find little Jessica. We'll stay on top of that story. We've got several crews. We're camped out right there in the neighborhood and also at the police station.